All right, guys, welcome to the Trucking Looks Bright podcast. This is episode number 2. I'm your host, TJ, and we're going to jump into the main top topics that's going on in trucking this week. Let's go.
Building heavy wheels with the grind, dreams in the rear view, but they ain't left behind. Trucking looks bright, yeah, we're building a climb. Started with a map and a heart full of flame. Miles to the money, now we're stacking the game. From the dirt to the skyline, made it plain. Ain't no stop signs when you're carving your lane. Every load we haul is a step to the top. Every mile we clock says we can't be stopped. Gotta hustle so loud you can hear the drop. This grind ain't a phase, it's the life we copped. Trucking looks bright on the highway tonight. Dreams in the cab and the future in sight. Grinding so hard, yeah, we're reaching new heights. Success in the mirror, it's a beautiful light.
All right, in trucking, we got a couple topics, right? That's breaking news right now. We still got Trump's executive orders and the future of trucking for 2025. We're going to talk about the intersection of technology in trucking and what's going on and how you can leverage that to grow your business, to go stronger, to go faster, and to be more successful. We're going to talk about women in trucking, right? Breaking barriers and shaping some of the future of trucking. And talking about future of trucking, we're going to get into the autonomous driving trucks and what's that looking like and how close we are to the future, right, guys? And then we're going to wrap this up with the driver wellness, all right? How you can handle your mental and your physical health as a truck driver. Let's jump right into it, guys. Last week, we talked about some of Trump's executive orders and what's going on with that. I think one of the big ones is right now, especially, you could take the full amount of your truck and write it off. Right now, before you would have to divvy it up within 2 to 5 years, right? It would take you time. You wouldn't be able to apply that complete write-off in 1 year. But now, you're able to write that complete write-off, right? And now this just doesn't apply to cash buys or financing. You can do this with a lease personal vehicle as well. Most people think if they want to get a write-off on their personal business vehicle, that they need to finance it or they buy it. You can do this with a 0 down lease and monthly payments, guys. You can do this and you can write off the full amount. Vehicle that you use for work, you can do it with a semi truck that you're buying or a fleet truck that you're adding to your fleet, guys. Now you can write it off in 1 year, and you can still write it off in a couple years depending on how you want to apply it. But this could benefit you from having to pay Uncle Sam in taxes, especially if you're trying to grow your business. So this is a big one that it passed, guys. So I want to focus on the ones that directly benefit you and that can help you in your business as an owner operator, as a fleet owner, or if you own a trucking company. All right, guys, let's talk about the number 2, the technology in trucking, right? What does that look like, right? Like, there's so many things that you can leverage trucking. If you're not using AI in your trucking business right now, if you're not using AI, with your day-to-day, you're really going to be left behind, guys, because it's not just in other industries. It applies in trucking as well, right? You can use ChatGPT for things like helping you find mechanics in your local area, right? If that, then what solutions, right? Taking pictures of something that's happening on your truck and saying, help me solve that, help me narrow this down so you could be more applicable in getting your truck back up on the road, guys. So that's a big one, right? Like, how, you have these issues throughout the day. You have to talk to somebody, but you have an expert in your pocket. You can just download the app and try to come down to solutions and try to figure out what the problem is and how can you fix it right away so you can get back up and rolling. So that's a big one, guys. I want you to keep in mind what's going on in trucking right now. How can you leverage it, the technology side, to really grow and just be more successful, right? Just be more applicable in your business, right? Let's go on and talk about number 3, women in trucking. Now, I've been seeing this a lot since 2022. I've been seeing a lot of women get into trucking more and more and more and really kind of take that avenue. And whether woman or man, right, there's this, owning a fleet management company, having my own drivers, right, and being an owner operator myself back in the day was, you can start to see what makes you successful and what doesn't make you successful. There's certain things that you need, certain qualities that you need to be successful in trucking, right? You got to be able to prioritize sleep. You got to be hungry and want to make money, right? There's a lot of sacrifices that you're making in trucking, especially if you're going over the road and you're doing OTR, you're doing regional. Now, if you're more of a local driver, I mean, there's not as much sacrifice that you have to make. You still got to be hungry, you want to make money, but it's really more applied to the ones that are over the road and doing regional. So if you're one of those women that you're like, listen, I'm hungry, I'm ambitious, and I don't have much commitment back at home, trucking could be great for you. It could open up a lot of doors for you, right? It's one of those things like there's not many of those careers where you're just like, you don't have no supervisor on your back. You don't have nobody telling you what to do. It's just you and the open road, some YouTube, a podcast, and you're going and driving and making some money, right? And the only headaches you can come across is probably dealing with cars and dealing with little a-holes here and there. But for the most part, you're really to yourself. You know, you're on the phone talking to friends or family. You're watching a podcast. You're watching a good YouTube. So this is something that, you know, in trucking especially, right? It was for a long time considered an old man game, right? Now, a lot of the older people that have been in trucking for, you know, 30, 40, 50 years, they're starting to retire now. And you start to see the new workforce come up, right? And women are playing a part of that new workforce. So that's big. I think it's good for trucking. And talking about good for trucking, we're going to go on to the next topic, autonomous trucks, right? And how close we are to the future. Now, here's my take on this. I do think that in the next couple of years, we're going to start to see autonomous short hauls, right? Local deliveries, different things like that. A lot of easier, the quicker, more, you know, expedited solutions, I think are going to be more autonomous. But as far as the OTR and regional, I think we're about 10, 15 years away from it being a thing. I mean, technology is going fast. AI is going fast. It's changing every day. So you never know the capabilities and the advancements that could happen in a short amount of window. So I don't want to undercoat that. But I do want to say I think that there's going to be a fine merge of, you know, a co-pilot with the autonomous driving, just like in an airplane where you have somebody navigating, you know, command control, and, you know, the plane could be on autopilot and kind of like do the whole flight itself. I think that's what trucking is going to be like. It's going to need a co-pilot. It's going to need some human element to handle certain things, right? When you're coming across, right? Maybe like, you know, some dirt roads or like some complicated scenario where you probably have to get out of your truck. Right, that's where the human element will be more applicable, but it's going to be hand in hand with the technology, and I think it's going to be more safe. I think it's going to be more efficient and more faster. So those are some things to look out for, especially when we're talking about the future and trucking, right? I don't think it's going to be complete no more drivers behind the road. I don't think that's going to be a thing, but I do think it's going to go hand in hand with that human element. So those are one of the things. And let's go on to the last topic, driver wellness in trucking. Right? Mental and physical health for truckers, right? I think those are one of the big things where if you're a truck driver and you're over the road and you're away from family for a long time, it could weigh a toll on you, right? So I think as far as, you know, some of the advice when I'm coaching some of the drivers, right, is create a community, right? Be a part of community. You want to make sure you're not completely isolated from the world. So whether it's on social media or some type of community, you know, forum that you can join, I think that's good for the mental, stay close to family, you know, as far as conversating wise, or sometimes stay far away because that can cause issues as well, right? You know, having too many conversations with the family and hearing about all the drama going back home sometimes can throw you off your game and have you, you know, distracted from, you know, the main purpose on why you're on the road. The physical health of truckers as well. I know a lot of times you're on the road and it's a lot to, you know, try to eat healthy, right? Try to work out. Those are tough. You know, you're far away from a gym. The only thing you have in a 20-mile, 100-mile radius is probably a McDonald's. You know, so there are certain things that you got to get, you know, prone to. There's some health apps out there for truckers. You know, there's some solutions that you can do as far as cooking your own food. So you really guys want to stay on top of that, especially when it comes to mental and physical health for truckers. If you're a fleet owner as well, make sure you're always talking to your drivers. Make sure you're always consulting them and make sure that they're in a good state of mind, because if they're not and you go unaware of that, they could potentially leave you and leave your truck stranded and you don't know. So those are some of the big one, guys. I appreciate you watching this one. I just wanted to go over some of the main topics of this week, guys. Listen, if you are a CDL driver and you're ready to level up and become an owner operator, I'm a consultant. I would love to work with you one-on-one and help you draw that roadmap so you could be successful in 2025 and on with your business and grow, become a fleet owner, and really create the life that you want using trucking as the vehicle. I'm going to put the description below so you can schedule a call with me one-on-one. Let's level up. Let's go.